I've got new names the Dubs should look into in the first round, plus their second round pick and why it needs to be Baba Miller on today's show.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast.
What are they going to say now?
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, everyone? Chuck Walter here. This is Locked On Warriors, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. On today's show, we continue our NBA draft coverage as we get you ready for the Golden State Warriors' 11th pick in this year's draft. We've thrown out a bunch of names for the first round: Kolsky, Yaxel Lindeborg, Kareem Lopez. Today, I want to add another one to the list, a few to the list. Dalen Swain will give the full scout the opinion on him. Cameron Carr, what we think of his game, the dude from Baylor. But let's start with spending some time on a pick that's kind of an afterthought, the second round pick that the Golden State Warriors have and what they should do. It's not a debate, in my opinion, if this player is available. And honestly, I think the Warriors should trade up somehow to get him. I believe in this guy that much. It's a request. It's not a plea. Go out and get Baba Miller. He's a 6'11" facilitating forward that averaged a double-double in the Big 12 for the Cincinnati Bearcats. Now, the Warriors have not had good luck drafting players from Cincinnati. See Jacob Evans and Steve Logan. But Baba Miller is legit, man. Noteworthy. We know this as fans of this show. You know this. I'm extremely biased. I'm a fan of the college team he played for, but that just means I had a lot of opportunities to watch him play. And now the scouts saw on Wednesday what I've been saying for a long time. This guy is a big-time sleeper in the NBA draft. He led the Combine's first scrimmage with 20 points, hit a couple threes, which is almost as many as he made all of last season. Is he getting a jumper? I'll give you the full scout over the next 10 minutes, Kolsky, but I told you to do some research. I told you to watch the tape. What do you think about a 7-footer that can handle it? He's a very good passer, an amazing rebounder, and sees the game pretty well.
I think you're going to have trouble getting him in the middle of the second round based on the Combine performance. And
he's been mocked to the Warriors in every draft before, like the last day.
Yeah, right. But I mean, I think the last day is important, and I think the next, what is it? I guess probably like over a month, but less than a month and a half until the NBA draft. I don't know the date offhand, but it's usually mid-June, right? Based on what I've seen, and obviously, like you said, you've seen a lot more than me, but based on what I've seen, he's going to start to rise and, might even sneak his way into the back end of the first round. So I think he may be tough to get. Now, if we're just going to talk about what does that skill set look like for the Warriors, I mean, yeah, of course you'd be interested. You have to tell me more about his defense. On the highlight package, you obviously see some blocks. He's very long and he's very athletic, it seems like. Or at least, reasonably athletic for that size, right? Is that fair? You tell me.
He's smooth. He's just like a smooth operator. He's got really long strides. He's strong. He's well positioned. He's not like an extremely explosive athlete, but he's so damn long that he'll dunk from the free throw line.
Right? He has almost a Now, to be clear, nothing like him as a player.
But he used to be a point guard. He's one of those guys that had a major growth spurt.
He's one of those guys that moves surprisingly for someone that long. He's nothing like Kevin Durant as a player, but just in terms of having that amount of height and long arms and moving that way, or Jabari Smith, right? Moves a little like that guy where it's like, oh, all right. He kind of almost has a guard level movement about his body. I think he's going to have trouble handling as a young player, certainly in the NBA. That can improve over time. I think to be a long-term starter in the NBA, he's going to have to shoot it. So we'll see how that develops. But if you can get him in the second round, he certainly looks to me like a project worth investing in. There's not a lot of guys that size who move that way. And for me, that's enough, to be honest.
Yeah, he's like 22 years old, which is one of the issues. If you want to call that a negative right now, I don't think that's a big deal for the Warriors, but a late bloomer, went to Florida State as a big time recruit, didn't really see a ton of floor there, went to Florida Atlantic, which is a better program than it's been after, making the Final Four. Had a good season there. Was kind of an afterthought when he was recruited to Cincinnati. Not an afterthought, but like he was probably their third highest paid portal player. And he was their best player, in my opinion. He averaged 13 and 10. He was the best player on the floor when that Cats team destroyed Kansas in the fog. So Peterson was on the floor, and Baba by the end of the game was just dominated. I think he had like 18 and 16 in that game. But what I really like about him is for a team that, drafted Draymond Green in the second round, and he was a very good college player. People didn't know how he's going to translate to the next level. He brings a lot of those same skill sets. He's tough. He sees the game really well. He's got incredible vision and great passing, great drive and kick guy, really good facilitator. However, he's a putrid three-point shooter. Shot at like 33% at Florida Atlantic and hit 39 of them his junior year. He was like 10 of 55 at Cincinnati for 19%. So that's not going to, be the greatest in the NBA, but he's one of those guys that has like the mechanics and is decent enough from the charity stripe to where you watch him and say, I think he can be fixed. And if he's fixed, like, dude, he's got all the makings of a lottery pick. I've been watching this guy for a while. He's got the NBA ready body and NBA ready IQ. He just, was on a team that didn't make the tournament, and that sometimes hurts your stock at the collegiate level.
I mean, there's no doubt, and no offense, Cincinnati's not the best place to go if you want to go to the NBA, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty obvious. But yeah, I agree with everything you said. But again, based on the relatively limited sample that I've seen. So if they can get their hands on him, by all means, take a flyer on that. I mean, he's not a consideration at 11, but who knows? Because the more I think about it, the more convinced I am that there will be a draft day trade, if not earlier, of the number 11 pick. Like I say draft day because I just feel like there's a lot of uncertainty in terms of how people rank like 7 through 15 or something. So it may depend. They may choose to wait to see who's available and who wants that person to actually get the most out of it. But it just, we look at all these prospects
in the first round.
Perhaps
take like 18.
I think that's possible, but I think it's more likely they try to use it along with a contract to acquire something more appealing for right now.
Straight ahead on the show, who's a wild card player that the Warriors could look into? We'll debate that. If you got a sweet tooth like I do, you know how hard it is to find the perfect balance of a treat that doesn't have all the sugar. That's why Fruity Rainbow 5-hour energy shots bring that nostalgic flavor back in a whole new way. They treat your taste buds to an explosion of fruity flavor with a tasty caffeine kick. It's a quick, easy way to satisfy the sweet craving while keeping things simple and on the go. Zero sugar means no crash later. I recently just went to New York for a little business trip. Obviously, I'm a West Coast guy, so I go East Coast. I'm all of a sudden into a different day. I'm exhausted, and guess what? 5-hour energy was there at a local 7-Eleven, guzzled one of those things down every morning, and I was good to go. Get candy-flavored chaos with Fruity Rainbow 5-hour energy shots, available online or at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. Your outdoor space should feel like you. It's one of those spots you keep meaning to fix up, but you never quite get around to. That's where Wayfair comes in. They make it easy to find pieces that match the vibe you wanted. What I love about it, it's so easy to filter by style and budget, so you can find exactly what fits your space. Something I've been wanting to get, seating. For the longest time, Wayfair made it easy with just a couple of clicks, and now the space actually feels together outdoors. Get prepped for patio season for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's Wayfair, WAYFAIR.com, because in the Bay Area, it's always patio season. Wayfair, every style, every home.
You mentioned a couple names, Kareem Lopez, right? Like, I think we've probably both done our research on the guys from in basically that 7 or 8 to 15 range where any of them could essentially fall to the Warriors. And there's a few guys that you can make a sort of solid argument for how they might be able to help today, whether it's Kareem Lopez or if Yaxel Lendeborg falls or who's the other guy we were going to talk about today?
Dalen Swain.
Yeah, Dalen Swain. But all of those guys have significant flaws as NBA prospects and players. And like, I mean, look, here's maybe an example, right? I think someone who drafts Dalen Swain would hope that his upside is a better player than Tobias Harris, right? That would be the hope. But who would you rather have right now if you're the Warriors? Dalen Swain as a rookie or Tobias Harris, looking at what he's doing right now in the playoffs in the NBA? And
my answer is honestly Dalen Swain, because I'm solely looking at potential upside right now. Like, you know what you're getting from Tobias Harris. His best years are behind him. He's someone that can help you if you're ready to win. But we both agree that this team's like not ready to win. So at a certain point, I'm looking at ceilings. Like, even if their floor
but do you think that's what the
low,
Warriors are doing?
I don't think that's the way they're going, but it's the way they should go. As a podcast host that has never been on a staff in my life, as the coach of the Friars basketball club in the 3rd grade, they should be looking at ceiling guys right now.
I'm not saying I totally disagree with you, but if I'm looking at it from a perspective of what they're likely to do and what I think probably does help what I believe their current goals are, I think it would be different if Dalen Swain or Kareem Lopez looked like a potential franchise changer. But I don't even really think the ceiling for the guys that they're looking at with number 11 is superstar. The ceiling is like, you know, most improved player one year. The ceiling is maybe he's a, fringe all-star one day. Like, I look at Dalen Swain and I see something really interesting. But I also see a guy who's going to need NBA minutes to develop. He's going to have to learn to shoot at the NBA level. He's going to have to make sure he's a big guy. Like, can that he is a great ball handler and rim attacker in college, right? But how long does that take to translate to the NBA level, and what is required to allow it to translate to the NBA level? And are the Warriors the place to do that? And that's not just me looking out for Dalen Swain. That's me saying, like, the last thing you want to end up doing, right, is creating another Jonathan Kuminga situation.
Well, it can't be a Jonathan Kuminga situation at this point, because the way the Warriors were set up then, they were closer then than they are now. So I don't think you can have that same replica.
But look, they got Guy Santos on the roster. You tell me who's getting the bulk of those minutes next year off the bench. If
it's Lopez, that's a good comparison right there. He kind of has a similar game to Guy, where it's like he's not great at anything, but he's tough. He's physical.
That's what I'm saying. But can you imagine a world where Kareem Lopez is on the bench next to Guy Santos and Steve Kerr points at Kareem Lopez?
No, he's 19. He's
right.
a project.
So they have hired Steve Kerr,
but he's not my guy. He's like fifth on my big board, on the Chuck big board.
But even if it's not him, even if it's Dalen Swain, who has a totally different skill set than Guy Santos, I still see Steve Kerr. When Steph Curry's out there fighting for a win, he's going to Guy Santos. And I'm not saying that's the right decision. I don't want to be in a fight with Steve Kerr again, so I'm not going to get into that part of it. The point is just what's going to happen.
You know how they can get out of that situation, Kolsky, is draft someone that's shockingly ready to go. Kerr will play him if he's good enough. We've seen it over the years. He'll play him
if he's good in the right way. Yes.
What is the right way to you right now? Because he has to complement Steph. He has to fit within the flow of the offense. At some point, we got to find the paper and rip that up, man. Like, the Warriors do, to a certain degree, need another playmaker. Not to a certain degree. They need another playmaker. They need someone that can hit big time buckets. They need someone that you can put the ball in his hand and he can give you a basket. And there's no reason to bring up Kuminga anymore. I saw a comment that came in the chat the other day, and he said, how many straight shows are you guys going to weave in the name Jonathan Kuminga? I think it's like 130 at this point.
It's not about him. You're right. It's not about him. It's about the decision you made when you signed Steve Kerr for 2 more years. And let's use Moody as a better example. Like, I think Moses Moody is on his way, right? And when I look at Cameron Carr, I see potentially Moses Moody or like a better version of what Moses Moody is, potentially, right? He's
Way more athletic, way more. Like in transition, he's throwing down dunks that Moses can get up there, but it looks different in my opinion.
Again, the ceiling
same
is
long wingspan, similar player. I agree.
The ceiling is higher. He's a better ball handler, but you know, he's not likely to be as good as Moody is today as a rookie, right?
No, but every year, I mean, revisionist history, we could go back, and I don't think I was the only human being on planet Earth that said Reno was going to be good as a rookie. You were the only human being on Earth 10 years ago that said Jokic was going to be good as a rookie. I don't know if you said that, but I'll give you the credit there.
Sure, I'll take it.
Giannis, man, I don't think anyone said from like day one, this guy's a future superstar. Like, we do rewrite the history books to a certain degree in that, like, we just think that people don't pop, right? Like these picks from 11 to 20, like, oh, well, we don't see stardom there. We never see stardom in any of these guys. They always come out of nowhere. It happens in just about every draft.
But in order to come out of nowhere, you have to play. And in order to come out of really
the Warriors
nowhere,
don't have many options, Kolsky.
Well, that's right now, but they're obviously going to make attempts to change and replenish they'll have options, you know? And we've watched Steve Kerr choose options he likes for various reasons over options that very clearly have a higher ceiling, right? With more than one player on more than one occasion, he has a certain style he wants to play. He has a certain type of player he likes. They've got to be incredibly high IQ. They've got to move the ball along and participate in the offense and be convinced that the ball has energy and all that stuff. And I'm not saying
Steve's got to cut that out because we're not at that point in Warriors basketball anymore. Like you have to start developing. I'll be the first to say it. But Steve's got to cut that out.
Do you think that listen, I'm not sure anyone has said Steve needs to cut that out as much as I have. But if we just put aside the what should be happening right now and look at what is happening, do you think part of Steve Kerr's new 2-year contract is agreeing to not do what he wants to do? Like,
do you think there was any compromise in the room, though?
From Steve?
I mean, there were the reports that were saying that Joe and Mike really wanted to change some of his philosophies. What if one of those wrinkles to change was, hey, this 11th draft pick, we're going to give you the reins. You do the scouting. Like it's not Joe that's doing the scouting here. It's you and Mike.
Then
I'm taking my hands out of this thing. This pick is on you, Steve, but you got to play him.
I think, first of all,
that's how I'd run it if I was an owner. That's the meeting that I would have if I was Joe Lacob.
I would have had that meeting 5 years ago, and they may very well have.
Straight ahead on the show, would the Warriors actually think about trading up in the draft? We'll debate that. The conference finals are almost here, and that means it's the most electric time in basketball. On KALSHI, you can trade every single playoff game, every series, the conference finals, and the championship. If you think you have a good edge, see what the others are doing out there in the market and hop on KALSHI. On KALSHI, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. For a limited time, download the KALSHI app and use code LOCKEDON to get $10 when you trade 10. KALSHI is spelled KALSHI. Trade on anything. 18 and up only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contracts trading involves risk, may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory. If you've ever opened your bank account and thought, where did all my money go? You're not alone. Keeping track of subscriptions, spending, and bills can get overwhelming fast. That's where Rocket Money comes in, helping you take control of your finances all in one place. Tracks all your subscriptions in one spot. It can help cancel the ones you don't need with just a few taps. It makes everything feel more organized and gives you a clearer picture of your finances day to day. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/lockedon. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon.
So, let me hear this. Was I right? Is it Cameron Carr that's your guy?
I think it's Burries from Arizona.
Oh, but he won't fall to 11. Do we think he's going to be at 11?
I don't think he's going to be there, but I think if he's there, you gobble him up. I think he's a dude.
Oh, I agree with that. Well, he's a two guard. He's a legitimate scoring two guard. Yes, 100%. I think he'll be off the board before.
Get him and Baba, and that's an A+ draft, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Burries will be gone before 9. Like, I think he's 7 or 8, probably.
Then I would say not Ament from Tennessee. I would probably say, I still think I believe in Yaxel enough to just give him a chance. Late bloomer. Right. He kind of fits what you're looking for. Like, what are the downsides in Yaxel's game? Everyone's saying low ceiling. I compare him to like an Obi Toppin or like a Hansbrough, where they were amazing in college and may not be able to take that next level. But if you got Obi Toppin, I mean, you could do better. We'll say that, but you'd take it.
Again, under normal circumstances, if someone says you've got the 11th pick and this guy is going to be Obi Toppin, I don't know. You'd live with it, I suppose. It's not
if they said worst case scenario, Obi Toppin, I'd say yes. But we don't know what his best case scenario is. And I think worst case scenario, it's probably similar to Obi Toppin. I don't think he's going to be a bust.
I don't think he is either. I think he's not as like NBA ready as his age would suggest. Like he's what, 24, Lindenberg?
23.
23. He's still relatively raw in places. He does have a lot of ability to score the ball, and there's no question the Warriors need that. I think if I'm looking at it and he does fall, because I think he mostly projected to go a little bit before them, but if he does fall, that's certainly somebody I would look at. But again, it's not that I think trading the pick is the absolute right move. It's that the more I think about the way the Warriors have operated and the way things look right now, I don't know how you can really interpret the goal for the next 2 seasons as anything but to be the best team you can be built around Steph Curry and running what Steve Kerr. I mean, if you're going to totally change things, that makes no sense to bring him back, right? It seems to me.
It's the idea of, hey, Steve, this is fly in the wall. I imagine it went something along the lines of this. Steve, we want you to return. We believe in your basketball acumen. Mike and you are going to do the scouting here. Mike's going to be at the combine. You watch your tape. You guys collaborate. Find a player that you can bring in from day one that helps your mission now, but also gets us younger. We don't want to trade this pick unless the perfect opportune player is there. Giannis. I mean, let's get real. This offseason, that's everything. The Warriors are in position to somehow, some way land this dude that we've been talking about for like 6 years. And this is it. This is their final swing at it. And I haven't 100% wrote it off by any means, but it's a wishful thinking and kind of a delusional way of going about your business. But it's one that you kind of have to do as a responsible owner to a certain degree, because that's your face. That's your face moving forward.
Yeah, I don't think it's delusional at all, because it's a matter of
delusional with the assets that you have compared to what other teams have to offer.
Yeah, but so much of this will be dictated by what Giannis wants, right? And I'm not sure he wants the Warriors either. We'll find out. But I don't think delusional is the right word, because I also believe that they have certainly a puncher's chance. And
overzealous?
No, because again, I think it's the right thing to do, right? Ambitious, perhaps, certainly, right? Not particularly likely to succeed in the end, I think is fair, right? But I don't think you sit out the pursuit of an available superstar because you have like maybe a 5% chance. That 5% chance is worth the effort. And that's why they made inquiries when he was available during the season. And that's why they will make inquiries this summer. But I have to say, I think the fact of Giannis moving, it's the sort of event that changes things around the NBA in fundamental ways that could also shake out and benefit the Warriors in terms of acquiring somebody else. So I wouldn't say the Giannis deal is everything necessarily. Obviously, it's among, if not the absolute best case scenarios. But I do think there are other possibilities. We still haven't seen how the playoffs will end. There are 2 series currently. You may think how they're going to go, but there's 6 teams left right now. And some of those teams feel like if they don't win the title, it's not a very good season. So they may want to make changes. Who knows? Maybe Joel Embiid is available. Would you go after Joel Embiid with the 11th pick?
KALSHI. You didn't just say that. You're joking, right? That's rage bait, right?
No.
The guy can barely walk. He's great. Don't get me wrong, but he could barely walk on the other side of 30. If we're terrified of Giannis.
Would you trade 11 and Jimmy Butler's contract for Joel Embiid and say, I have no idea if this works, but Quentin Grimes?
Is Quentin Grimes worth the 11th overall pick? My answer is no.
He's a professional
is Joel
guard.
Embiid more likely to help you this year than Jimmy Butler? That's a maybe to me, dude. Like, I just don't believe in his knees, man. Like, he just
Butler's
looks
or Embiid's.
I believe in Butler's knee more than Embiid's, which is crazy to say.
It's tough. I agree with you, and I agree that it would be a reasonably desperate move, but it would be interesting. And I bring it up just to make the point that, like, things can be done. They might be weird things, and in the end, we might end up with a weird team that has like a very high but low odds upside. If you catch my drift, like, gosh, if they could get them all healthy, I think the likelihood is that heading into the season, we're saying something like, boy, if the Warriors could stay healthy, that would be interesting in the playoffs. That to me is about what they're aiming for, because I don't know that there is an option for better. And I think in all likelihood, the best way to get there is to use number 11 as a trade asset. That said, there are several players, some of whom we've mentioned, that I would enjoy seeing if the Warriors actually drafted them and put them on the floor. And Lendenborg is one of them. And
yeah,
honestly, dude, I love what's his face? I'm spacing on everyone's name now, but the Texas kid, Dalen
Swain. Yeah, so just to tie this, everything ties back to my hometown. He played at Xavier. And wasn't a great, he was good at Xavier, but he wasn't someone that I was like, oh, the Warriors need to grab him with a lottery pick. And he blew up this year under Sean Miller. And I always like those guys that kind of pop. And that's why I like Yaxel to a certain degree. He was not invested in basketball. He wasn't really invested in life. Like, if you hear kind of his story, he was kind of a slob, didn't really care. His mom said, you're going nowhere in life. And he turned a corner, and now all of a sudden he's the best player in college basketball. Those are the stories that I'm kind of looking for, those late bloomers with these types of picks, because you don't want ceiling guys, in my opinion. That's why it's funny to me that everyone says that Yaxel's a ceiling guy, because he seems to me like someone that actually could be rising and hitting the peak.
Well, yeah, that's what I say when on one hand, it's good that his age kind of belies where he's at as a prospect. On the other hand, I'm not sure it favors the Warriors for him, but he's a fascinating one for all the reasons we've talked about. Swain to me is the most fascinating because, like you said, significant jump this year. And like, there's a version of it where when he has the ball in his hands, he bullies people. Like, he looks a little Scotty Barnes-ish sometimes. Now, he doesn't have that court vision, and he has a similar jump shot, which is not good. But as a prospect, that's the guy I'd be the most interested in of these names, because I think the ceiling is the highest, and I'd like to see that. I'd like to see an attempt to develop that. I just can't picture the Warriors giving him 15 plus minutes a game to like get his bearings. He's somebody that's going to have to touch the ball and attempt to dribble against NBA players in games to get better. And I don't trust it.
You know who Dalen Swain would fit in on perfectly? A team that he'd fit in on perfectly. I'll give you one guess. Toronto.
Guess. Yeah, well, they already have.
Like he'd fit in on Toronto. He's RJ Barrett. He's Scotty Barnes. He's one of those dudes that like you can pack the paint, and dare him to beat you inside and get to the rim. And until he starts hitting shots consistently at an elite level, you kind of worry about it. But he's relentless at getting to the rim. He's pretty creative. He's a good enough defender to where you project him as a plus there. And again, his stock's going up. All right, that's it for the show. This is Locked On Warriors. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.